Imagine this. Every Mentos candy in the world, millions, maybe billions of them, and every bottle of Diet Coke ever produced. What if, somehow, you managed to drop all the Mentos into all the Diet Coke bottles at the exact same moment? Not just in one country, not just on one continent, but everywhere, all at once. Now that's chaos carbonated. Let's start with the basics. When Mentos drop into Diet Coke, it causes a rapid release of carbon dioxide. The candy's porous surface breaks the surface tension of the soda, creating thousands of nucleation sites, basically tiny launch pads for gas bubbles. The result? A geyser of fizz shooting out of the bottle like a sugary volcano. On a small scale, it's hilarious. On a large scale, things start to get weird. Say you manage to gather 10 billion bottles of Diet Coke. That's about one for every person on the planet, plus a few extras for those who just really like soda. Now imagine that each of those bottles is armed with one or more Mentos, just waiting to erupt. This would be the world's largest coordinated soda launch. So what happens? First of all, foam. Lots of foam. If each eruption launches about a liter of soda into the air, that's 10 billion liters total. That's enough to fill 4,000 Olympic swimming pools. The result would be an instant sticky tsunami of caramel-colored chaos. Streets would flood. Parks would become soda swamps. Cities would be submerged in fizzing foam. You wouldn't be able to walk a block without stepping in a puddle of aspartame and shame. Now let's get scientific. Each soda eruption doesn't just make a mess, it also releases a ton of gas. CO2 is the driving force here, and with 10 billion Diet Cokes, you'd be unleashing about 5 million metric tons of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere almost instantly. That's roughly the same as the annual CO2 emissions of a small country, but with better marketing. Would this damage the environment? Maybe not permanently, but your local climate would definitely notice. You might see temporary pressure changes, odd wind patterns, or random soda clouds hovering in the sky. Birds would panic. Airplanes might get weirdly sticky. Local weather reports would have to add 50% chance of cola showers. And then there's the human reaction. Imagine every person on Earth being blasted in the face by a surprise soda volcano. Mass confusion. People slipping on sidewalks, cell phones short-circuiting, tourists running from soda geysers erupting in front of monuments. It would be like a prank war waged on a planetary scale. And cleanup? Oh, you don't even want to think about it. Soda is sticky. It dries like syrup. Cars would get crusted, buildings would stain, ants would take over entire neighborhoods. Entire cities might become ant kingdoms. You'd need industrial vacuums, fire hoses, and a lot of very patient people with mops. But let's say you took it even further. What if all those bottles and Mentos were launched in one specific location? One super concentrated mega eruption. In that case, we're talking about a Diet Coke bomb. The sudden release of pressure could cause a shock wave, not quite nuclear, but maybe enough to flip over some cars, break windows, and terrify everyone within a 10-mile radius. You might actually generate a visible soda mushroom cloud. Sticky fallout would rain from the sky. Scientists would be baffled, the news would be incredible, and somewhere in the middle of it all, one guy would be filming it for YouTube. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe. So, could we actually do this? Number. The logistics are insane. The cost would be in the billions, and you'd probably cause more lawsuits than laughs. But should we? Absolutely not. Still, it's kind of fun to imagine. A fizzy end-of-the-world scenario where humanity drowns not in fire or ice, but in Diet Coke. And that, my friends, is what happens when science meets sugar and loses.